Hello, bankers. A very good evening to all of you. Welcome back. Today we are going to talk about our unit number 28 from Module D, which is all about asset classification and provisioning norms, right? इससे पहले हमने आपका अभी तक के सारे यूनिट्स कवर अप कर लिए हैं, ठीक है। आई होप आप सबने सारे यूनिट्स आपका देख लिए। सी गाइस, CIB examination are like totally based on the foundation things. So foundation is must for all these particular examination, right? So without foundation, it become very tough to clear these type of examination. So I'll highly recommend these particular videos. Okay, so compilation videos are already there, and you can go through that particular one, and there are some module wise MCQs session are also there. Very soon I'm going to provide you the mock test also, module wise, unit wise, and the overall, right? So we are working on that particular area. So we will like very soon, like within 5 to 7 days, we will live those particular things also, right? So थोड़ा सा डिले आपका हो गया था ड्यू टू सम हेल्थ इश्यूज, एंड देयर आर सम अदर टास्क ऑल्सो, और थोड़ा सा उससे पहले जेआईबी की वजह से आपका डिलेज था, ठीक है। सो रियली सॉरी फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर वन गाइस। नाउ ऑनवर्ड्स एवरी डे आई विल कम अप विद at least 1 or 2 session. We will start with the MCQ series also from the module A itself. यूनिट 1 मॉड्यूल ए से आपका स्टार्ट करेंगे, ठीक है। तो जहां पे बेसिकली वी विल बी कवरिंग 1 or 2 यूनिट्स इन अ डे, so that content is almost ready for that particular one also. तो वहां पे आपका रिकॉर्डिंग या लाइव हम लोग शो करने वाले, ठीक है। So like now onwards, I'll at least come up with one video or one video based on the remaining 3 units, आपका liquidity management, interest rate management, and RAROC and profit planning, ठीक है। तो अगले 3 दिन में ये कवर कर लेंगे नेक्स्ट 3 days के अंदर। इसके बाद like simultaneously I'll come up with the MCQ session also. Then regular basis we'll have I'm planning to come up with some large session like 2 or 3 hours, where will be covering 2 to 3 units in a day, right? तो इस तरीके से अगर आपका जाएंगे तो थोड़ा सा आपका हेल्प हो जाएगा। तो दोबारा से आपका स्टार्ट करते हैं हमारे BFM सब्जेक्ट की जर्नी को, राइट? सो गाइज, यूनिट 28 एसेट क्लासिफिकेशन एंड प्रोविजनिंग, बहुत छोटा सा यूनिट है एंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वन। अगर आप पास 2 एग्जामिनेशन को देखते हैं, ठीक है, तो देयर वाज केस स्टडीज बेस्ड ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर यूनिट एज वेल एज डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन ऑल्सो, ठीक है। So asset classification first, and another one is provisioning norms. So these are the 2 aspects of this particular one. Asset classification we know very well, that is like SMA accounts. Then we have आपका substandard asset, doubtful asset, and loss asset. Then if you talk about the provisioning things, so for provisioning we have to follow RBI guidelines. So case study will be based on provisioning only, right? I'll show you one case study in this particular unit itself. आज ही के वीडियो में एक छोटा सा केस स्टडी, जिससे आपको एक आइडिया मिल जाएगा कि किस टाइप के क्वेश्चन आपको एग्जामिनेशन में पूछे जाते हैं, ठीक है। सो इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द प्रोविजनिंग, वी डू हैव प्रोविजनिंग फॉर standard asset also 0.40%, and in some cases like agriculture loan 0.25%, and it is up to 0.75%. Maximum standard asset they generally belongs in a range of 0.40 to 0.75, ठीक है। इसके अलावा कई में आपका 1% भी होता है इन ऑल। इन केस ऑफ डाउटफुल आपका NPA क्लासिफिकेशन और दैट आपका डाउटफुल एसेट is substandard asset and loss asset. Substandard के लिए आपका I hope you remember that 15% securitized asset and unsecured portion आपका 25%. Loss asset doubtful asset we have 3 categories. One is doubtful 1 40%, 25%, doubtful 2 40%, and doubtful 3 100% for securitized loan. Unsecuritized it become 100%. Loss asset in every case it is 100%. So किस तरीके से क्वेश्चन आपको पूछे जा सकते हैं, that also we are going to discuss in this particular session itself, right? So guys, like when we talk about the provisioning and asset classification, the journey that generally started with the reforms in banking sector, and whenever we talk about reforms in banking sector, it start with the Narsimham Committee 1, which was in 1991, and Narsimham Committee 2 1998. But one was the very important one. ठीक है, so that generally was based on the global standards. ठीक है, and उसी दौरान we start implementing that Basel 1 norms also. तो capital wise भी आपका वो सारी चीजें वहां पे थी. So there were lots of things which were part of Narasimham Committee 1, including this provisioning for non-performing asset or to keep the bank balance sheet clean. That was the agenda of that particular committee itself, right? So in 1991, a high-level committee headed by M. Narasimham was appointed to examine various aspects of the financial system. One of the important recommendation of the Narasimham committee was the balance sheet of bank should be transparent and comply with international accounting standards. तो इस जो आपका रिकमेंडेशन है, so to achieve this particular recommendations, we come up with these kind of provisioning things and all. They only suggested those particular areas. The committee recommended that banks should adopt uniform accounting practices in regard to income recognition and bad debts provisioning. In particular, income recognition of non-performing assets should not be on accrual basis. So generally, our banks, they generally follow the accrual basis of accounting. Accrual basis of accounting means where, like, let's say if we have created an asset, so there is a certain EMI date, so we are expecting कि customer will pay money on that particular date. So based on that particular one, we do the annual calculation in advance. ठीक है, तो हमारे ये asset है, इस पे इतना interest मिलता रहेगा इस उसमें. But अब ये this will be not applicable in case of non-performing asset. The accounting should be on the basis of cash basis. ठीक है, इसको हम लोग cash basis बोलते हैं. ठीक है, when we will recover that particular money, then only that will be part of your income recognition. ठीक है, तो पहले आपका ऐसा नहीं था. जैसे नॉर्मल अकाउंटिंग आपका अक्रूल बेसिस पे होता है. ठीक है, जैसे हमने कोई लोन दिया तो उस पे जो इंटरेस्ट का जो डेट होता है उसी डेट पे हम उसको ऑलरेडी क्या कर रहे होते हैं, उसी हिसाब से आपका आगे बढ़ा रहे होते हैं. बट एनपीए में आपको हमने अगर आगे बढ़ा दिया, अगर एनपीए हो गया तो कहीं ना कहीं प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा. तो एनपीए अकाउंट शुड बी दैट इनकम रिकॉग्निशन फ्रॉम नॉन परफॉर्मिंग शुड बी ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ कैश. ठीक है, कैश बेसिस पे आपका इनको ट्रीट किया जाएगा, नॉट ऑन एक्रूल बेसिस. ठीक है, but on a record of recovery, that means cash basis. The committee also suggested that provisioning should depend upon a proper classification of assets. Such in turn should be based on the objective criteria. तो इन्होंने एक तो आपका इनकम रिकॉग्निशन के बारे में यहाँ पे आपका सजेशन दिया. It should not be on accrual basis, it should be on cash basis. Another one is there should be a proper classification of non-performing assets and provisioning should be decided on the basis of that itself. जैसे आज के डेट में हमारा होता है, जैसे मैंने आपको स्टार्टिंग में बताया. ठीक है, so an asset including a leased asset become non-performing when it ceases to generate income for the bank. Usually after 90 days. ठीक है, so bank should classify an asset or an account as an NPA only if the interest charged during any quarter is not served fully within 90 days from the day of the quarter. So generally हम लोग कैसे करते हैं आपका, let's say there is a account. ठीक है, so let's say we have given loan to Mr. A and the EMI date was, let's say the first EMI date was 5th of अगस्त. ठीक है, 5 अगस्त को इसका पहला EMI डेट था. दिस वाज द फर्स्ट EMI. ठीक है, और इसने पहला ही EMI आपका डिफॉल्ट कर दिया. ठीक है, सो फॉर फर्स्ट 90 डेज, फॉर दीज 90 डेज आपका जो फर्स्ट 90 डेज आपके होंगे इस लोन के. ठीक है, सो फर्स्ट 90 डेज इट विल बी कैटेगराइज एज SMA. ठीक है, स्पेशल मेंशन अकाउंट. ठीक है, and after 90 days when it will cross the 90 days and there is no credit from the customer side, so this will be declared as non-performing asset in most of the cases apart from the agriculture, right? तो आपका यहाँ पे भी आपका if you talk about this, so we have SMA 0. ठीक है, that is आपका 1 to 30 days. ठीक है, SMA another classification is SMA 1, 31st to 60th day. Then we have SMA 2, which is your 61st to 90th days. ठीक है, ये आप लोग जानते हैं क्योंकि JIB में हमने इसको अच्छे से पढ़ा हुआ है. ठीक है, अगर यहां तक भी रिकवरी नहीं होता है, then we will declare this particular asset as non-performing asset. But in case of agriculture, we have for a small crop 2 crop season and for large crop it is 1 crop season, right? So, a non-performing asset is a loan or advance where interest or installment of principal remain overdue for a period of more than 90 days in respect of term loan. Pehla. The account remain out of order in respect of overdraft and others again for 90 days. The bill remain overdue for a period of more than 90 days in case of bill purchase or discounted. So again all the areas in all. ठीक है तो ये बहुत सिंपल है सभी लोग इसके बारे में जानते हैं. The installment of principal or interest thereon remain overdue for 2 crop season in case of short duration crop. The installment of principal or interest remain overdue for 1 crop season in case of long duration crop. In respect of derivative transaction, if the overdue receivables representing a positive M2M mark to market value of a derivative contract remain unpaid for a period of more than 90 days from the specified due date, it is also categorized as non-performing asset. So in all the cases, we have 90 days clause अपार्ट फ्रॉम दीज टू. ठीक है तो आपका एग्रीकल्चर के क्लॉज को छोड़ के कई बार आपको ऐसे स्टेटमेंट ओरिएंटेड वो आपका क्वेश्चन दे देते हैं. ठीक है अबाउट द एनपीए विच स्टेटमेंट इज राइट और रॉन्ग. तो थोड़ा सा ये और ये मतलब मैक्सिमम आपका लोग इसको सही करते हैं. दिस इज अ वेरी सिंपल वन. ठीक है so now what is out of order status? So an account should be treated out of order if the outstanding balance remain continuously in excess of the sanction limit or the drawing power. In case where the outstanding balance in the principal operating account is less than the sanctioned limit or drawing power, but there are no credit continuously for 90 days as on the date of balance sheet or credit are not enough to cover the interest debited during the same period. So this is also categorized as an out of order. So simply आपका like 90 after 90 days we are generally declaring that particular asset as an out of order. ठीक है इसके अलावा overdue आपका ठीक है overdue is like जैसे 5th August was the EMI date and 6th August onward that amount will be considered as overdue. ठीक है so any amount due to a bank under credit facility overdue if it is not paid on the due date fixed by the bank. जैसे 5 को था उसने नहीं किया तो overdue 6 को it will show the overdue amounts in all. ठीक है income recognition it is quite important one. ठीक है so income recognition the policy of income recognition has to be objective and based on the record of recovery as we already discussed this particular one right. तो जहां पे हमने क्या डिस्कशन किया था आपका कि दैट अमाउंट लाइक जैसे यूजुअली वी फॉलो द अक्रूल बेसिस अकाउंटिंग. ठीक है बट इन केस ऑफ नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट इट शुड बी बेस्ड ऑन लाइक कैश बेसिस राइट. So internationally income from non-performing asset is not recognized on accrual basis but is booked as income only when it actually received. Therefore the bank should not charge and take to income account interest on any NPA. However, interest on advance against term deposit like NSC, KPB, Kisan Vikas Patra and life insurance policies may be taken to income accounts on the due date provided adequate margin is availed in the account. अगर ऐसा कोई भी जिनके अगेंस्ट में वो लोन है अदर्स तो दैट इज अगेन वेरी सिंपल वन. ठीक है सो नाउ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर यूनिट अभी तक हमने सिर्फ आपका इंट्रोडक्शन के ऊपर बात किया है. So now we will talk about the asset classification and their provisioning things and then we'll discuss one case study also. So if you talk about the asset classification so so if you talk about the asset classification so we have like provisioning things and all and we have to follow some areas. तो जैसे देखो क्या होगा first we have let's say we have given loan to company X. So we have given loan to company X worth rupees 50 crore. Suppose that the overall amount. So that include principal and interest and the EMI was on August 5th. ठीक है so August 5th was the first EMI. ठीक है and he like they generally defaulted this particular amount. ठीक है तो यहीं पर आपका ये क्या हो गया default हो गया. So first 90 days we will treat this particular account as SMA account. ठीक है special mention account. ठीक है so this is SMA 0 SMA 0 is first to 90 days, ठीक है, first to 90 days. Then we have SMA 1, it is आपका sorry 1 to 30 days. Then we have 31st to 60th day, so it is your SMA 1, and SMA 2 is आपका 61st to 90th day, right? So it is this. तो ये कई बार आप लोग ना कंफ्यूज कैसे होते हैं, 1 2 3 लेते हैं. सो नो, एज पर द आरबीआई प्रोविजनिंग दिस इज 0 1 2, ठीक है. सो कई बार वो अगर आपको क्वेश्चन पूछता है, सो दिस इज द राइट classification of SMEs. So after 90 days, so once it will clear this particular 90 days, so we will declare this particular asset as non-performing asset. So now in non-performing asset, now it will be considered as non-performing asset. So now in case of NPA, it is like we have further. First one is substandard asset, which is like सबस्टैंडर्ड एसेट की अगर हम लोग बात करते हैं, ठीक है, सो रिमेन एनपीए फॉर 12 मंथ्स, ठीक है. सो एनपीए रिमेन एनपीए फॉर 12 मंथ्स, ठीक है. तो अब यहां पे हम लोग उसको क्या रखेंगे, जब हमने 90 डेज से ज्यादा हो गए तो वहां से लेके नेक्स्ट 1 ईयर तक आपका फॉर द नेक्स्ट 12 मंथ्स it will be considered as substandard asset and it will be accounted as NP आपका substandard asset and for next 12 months, ठीक है. मतलब after 90 days डे 1 देन 12 मंथ्स, ठीक है. यहां तक आपका इस तरीके से जो रहेगा, ठीक है. तो अगले आफ्टर 90 डेज इट विल बी डिक्लेयर एज एनपीए. तो यहां से फर्स्ट 1 ईयर ट्रीटमेंट विल बी एज सब स्टैंडर्ड एसेट फॉर द नेक्स्ट 1 ईयर और 12 मंथ्स, ठीक है. सेकेंड कैटेगरी इज आपका डाउटफुल एसेट, ठीक है. डाउटफुल एसेट, इन केस ऑफ डाउटफुल एसेट देन आपका इट इज लाइक मोर देन 12 मंथ्स, ठीक है. नाउ मोर देन 12 मंथ्स एज सब स्टैंडर्ड एसेट, ठीक है. टू आपका the frame in this particular case is 2 years, ठीक है. So that means it is like till 48 months, ठीक है, till 48 month, ठीक है. So ये आपका 48 months तक यहाँ पे रहेगा, ठीक है. Then third one we have loss asset, ठीक है. तो third one is loss asset, ठीक है. So it is like more than 48 months, तो remain NPA more than 48 months. So this is the basic areas. Now the provisioning, if you talk about the provisioning things, that is very important. So provisioning, if you talk about the provision for this NPA as per the current guidelines, so for standard asset also we need to do the provisioning things, but in case of substandard asset, like let's say category 1 substandard asset, so for we have two classification. One is secured and another one is unsecured, right? So secured and unsecured, so two type of assets. In case of secured portion, your provisioning will be for secured portion 15%, for unsecured 25% plus 10%. In case of second classification is your doubtful asset, ठीक है. So doubtful asset are further categorized among 3 part, ठीक है. Doubtful 1, doubtful 2 and doubtful 3, ठीक है. So in case of doubtful asset, ठीक है, so secured portion will become here it will become 25%, then it will become 40% and it will become 100%. In case of unsecured portion it will become 100%, ठीक है. For unsecured portion it will become 100% for all the 3 categories. In case of final one, which is our loss asset, so in case of loss asset, it is like for secured and unsecured, both the cases, it is 100%. In case of loss asset, first thing is ki, we should write off that particular asset for any purposes. If we are keeping that particular asset or in our balance sheet, so the provisioning should be 100% in all the cases. ठीक है. तो अब ये जो है ना, ये दोनों ही आपके लिए बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज गाइस लाइक सी यू विल गेट वन केस स्टडी, यू जस्ट हैव टू डू दिस मल्टीप्लिकेशन, और कुछ नहीं है. परसेंटेज आपके पास है, यू लाइक यू हैव टू कैलकुलेट द टोटल प्रोविजनिंग ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर लोन एंड ऑल. ठीक है. तो यहाँ पे आपका क्या है, प्रोविजनिंग जैसे सबस्टैंडर्ड एसेट सिक्योर्ड पोर्शन 15%, अनसिक्योर्ड 25%. इन केस ऑफ डाउटफुल एसेट 3 कैटेगरीज, डाउटफुल 1 आपका 25%, ठीक है. आपका डाउटफुल 1 अनसिक्योर्ड में पूरा 100% इन ऑल द 3 क्लासेस, 40% 100%, लॉस इज 100%. क्लासिफिकेशन इज जनरली बेस्ड ऑन दिस, रिमेन एनपीए फॉर 12 मंथ्स, ठीक है। सो एनपीए जब डिक्लेयर हो वहां से 12 महीने सब स्टैंडर्ड एसेट, 12 से आपका उसके बाद आपका 12 2 साल, नेक्स्ट 2 इयर्स, आपका 2 इयर्स मींस 24 मंथ्स, 12 मंथ्स ये हो गया, 48 मंथ्स हो जाएगा। तो दिस ड्यूरेशन इज डाउटफुल एसेट एंड लॉस एसेट इज like more than 48 months and then it is like the provisioning will be required 100%। तो ये टाइम ड्यूरेशन आपको हेल्प करेगा और आपको ये प्रोविजनिंग आपको अप्लाई करना होगा। बेस्ड ऑन दैट यू विल बी एबल टू सॉल्व दैट पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन, ठीक है। वी विल सॉल्व वन केस स्टडी ऑल्सो, बट फर्स्ट लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड द बेसिक theory about this one, ठीक है। So bank are required to classify non-performing asset further into the following 3 categories. One is substandard asset, another one is doubtful asset, and third one is loss asset, ठीक है। So substandard asset with effective from 31st March 2005. A substandard asset would be one which remain NPA for a period of less than or up to 12 months, ठीक है। So in such case the current net worth of the borrower or guarantor, and if you talk about the provisioning, यहाँ पे मैं आपको दोबारा से लिख देता हूँ, ठीक है। For secured portion it is 15% and for unsecured portion it is 25%, ठीक है। So you have to remember this particular thing, ठीक है। In case of doubtful asset with effective from 31st March same, an asset would be classified as doubtful asset, remain in substandard category for 12 months। अब 12 महीने उसको substandard में हो गए तो उसके बाद हम उसको आपका doubtful में डाल देंगे, ठीक है। A loan classified as doubtful has all the weakness inherent in assets that were classified as substandard with an added characteristic such that weakness make up collection or liquidation in full on the basis of the currently known fact, conditions and value highly questionable and improbable or doubtful, ठीक है। So provisioning कैसे है आपका इसके लिए, ठीक है। So we have 3 categories of doubtful asset, 1, 2, 3. So in category 1 it is so unsecured है, if it is unsecured, अगर unsecured है तो 100%, ठीक है। secured आपका, ठीक है, secured की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, unsecured is 100%, ठीक है। unsecured is 100%, आपने दिमाग में बिल्कुल उसको लगा दिया, ठीक है। तो यहाँ पे आपका 25%, ठीक है, देन आपका 40% एंड दैट फाइनल वन इज 100%, ठीक है। तो दैट इज डाउन। अब हम अगर डाउटफुल में ही 100% पहुंच गए हैं सिक्योर्ड में, तो इन केस ऑफ लॉस एसेट इट इज डेफिनेटली 100%, ठीक है। सो अ लॉस एसेट इज व्हेन वेयर लॉसेस हैज बीन आइडेंटिफाइड बाय द बैंक or internal or external auditors or RBI inspection, but the amount has not been written off wholly. In other words, such an asset is considered uncollectible and of such little value that its continuance as a bankable asset is not warranted, although there may be some salvage or recovery value, ठीक है। So usually we write off these kind of assets if for any purpose, if we are holding those particular asset in our book, so we have to make a provisioning of कितना आपका 100%, ठीक है। जितना उनका वैल्यू हो उतने का ही आपको प्रोविजन भी बना करके चलना पड़ेगा, ठीक है। तो दिस इज द बेसिक प्रोविजनिंग चार्ट, ठीक है। एक बार जल्दी से देख लेते हैं, ठीक है। कैटेगरी वाइज आपका स्टैंडर्ड एसेट, ठीक है, विल टॉक अबाउट दिस पर्टिकुलर वन, ठीक है। तो 0.25 जैसे एग्रीकल्चर एमएसएमईज लोन है, ठीक है। कुछ एरियाज आपका 1% में भी, बट मैक्सिमम इन बिटवीन 0.40 टू 0.75, ठीक है। अभी इसको मैं आपको पूरा लिस्ट दिखाऊंगा, ठीक है। सो अभी इस पे इतना होना रहे, इस पे हम बाद में बात करेंगे, ठीक है। सब स्टैंडर्ड एसेट आपका 15%, 25%, ठीक है। देन आपका एनपीए फॉर मोर देन 12 मंथ्स, आपका सिक्योर्ड अनसिक्योर्ड 100%, डाउटफुल है, ठीक है। सिक्योर्ड में आपका 25, 40, 100%, ठीक है। Uncollectible in this and your आपका provisioning is 100% in this particular case. Please do remember this chart because इसी चार्ट पे आपके सारे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व होने वाले, ठीक है। सो नाउ विल टॉक अबाउट द प्रॉब्लम। तो प्रॉब्लम को एक बार आपका देखते हैं जल्दी से, ठीक है। सो एनपीए क्लासिफिकेशन, XYZ बैंक हैज अ लोन ऑफ 10 crore rupees disbursed to a borrowers in manufacturing sector. The loan was classified as standard asset until March 2023. That means that borrower or XYZ bank is that borrower is paying that amount on timely basis until your March 2023. March 23 तक आपका उसमें कोई भी डिफॉल्ट नहीं था। But it as of July to 2023, the borrower has missed payment for 90 days. अब ये क्या हो गया है? NPA हो गया, ठीक है. As per the bank record, the last payment made was for March 2023. That means it's a clear cut non-performing asset. ठीक है. So now the question is, अब देखो मार्च में हमारा डिफॉल्ट हुआ जुलाई में, ठीक है. So मार्च मतलब अप्रैल मई जून जुलाई, अभी इसको कितने दिन हुए हैं आपका? ऑलमोस्ट आपका मोर देन 100 डेज और 100 डेज के अराउंड, ठीक है. और एनपीए हुए इसको एक महीना हुआ है, ठीक है. जस्ट रिमेंबर दैट वन, ठीक है. सो व्हाट इज द क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ द लोन एंड द प्रोविजनिंग रिक्वायरमेंट फॉर द लोन एज पर आरबीआई गाइडलाइंस? तो पहली चीज तो आपका सिंपल सा समझ में आ रहा है ना. तो क्या होगा आपका? इट इज क्लासिफाइड एज सब स्टैंडर्ड एसेट, ठीक है. ये आपका क्या होगा? सब स्टैंडर्ड एसेट होगा, ठीक है. If the loan is classified as NPA, एक तो आपका नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट हो गया, ये मतलब NPA आपका हो गया, ठीक है. दूसरा NPA के अंदर आपका सब दिस प्रोविजनिंग रिक्वायरमेंट कितना होगा इसके लिए आरबीआई के हिसाब से? तो इफ इट इज सिक्योर्ड, अगर ये सिक्योर्ड है तो 15%, ठीक है. इसमें सिक्योर्ड अनसिक्योर्ड लिखा है क्या? अ बोरोवर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर द लोन इज क्लासिफाइड स्टैंडर्ड एसेट अंटिल दिस. हाँ, तो अभी देखो, अब इसमें मेंशन नहीं है ना कि सिक्योर्ड है या अनसिक्योर्ड. अगर ऐसा सिचुएशन आपको मिलता है, यू विल कंसीडर दैट पर्टिकुलर वन एज सिक्योर्ड एसेट, ठीक है. If the loan is classified as NPA, what provisioning should XYZ make for this particular one? तो कितना provisioning करेगा? So what will be your correct answer? अब देखो यहाँ पे ना, a bank has a loan of 10 crore disbursed. इसमें ना कुछ figure missing है, ठीक है. Figure missing क्या है? कि अगर उसने दे दिया होता कि इतना अमाउंट अभी तक पे कर दिया है, तो उसको हम उसमें से माइनस कर लेते. बट अगर मिसिंग है, सपोज दैट दिस इज द क्वेश्चन इन योर एग्जामिनेशन, सो व्हाट विल बी योर करेक्ट आंसर? सो आपका 15%, इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर क्या होगा? 15% ऑफ 10 करोड़, ठीक है. सो विच इज इक्वल टू कितना होता है आपका? 1 करोड़ का 10% इज 1 करोड़, 15 करोड़ का 1.5 करोड़, सॉरी कितना आएगा? जस्ट आई नीड सम कैलकुलेटर स्टेम. तो एक बार जल्दी से देख लेते हैं. into 0.15, so it is 2 नहीं, सो कुछ तो गड़बड़ किया मैंने. अच्छा ओके, 10 है, सॉरी पहले तो. सो इट इज 10 लाख आपका, 10 लाख होना चाहिए, ठीक है. अरे ओके, 15% था क्या? सॉरी. तो 1.5 करोड़ आएगा, मतलब 1 मतलब 15 लैक्स. हाँ 15 लैक्स आपका. जो 15 लैक्स विल बी राइट आंसर फॉर दिस वन, ठीक है. सो 15 लैक्स विल बी द राइट आंसर फॉर दिस वन, ठीक है. तो एक्सप्लेनेशन आपका लिखा हुआ है, ये आप लोग गो थ्रू कर लें, ठीक है. एक बार जल्दी से, व्हाट इज द क्लासिफिकेशन? सो एनपीए एज पर दिस आरबीआई इनकम रिकॉग्निशन अकाउंट कैटेगराइजेशन norms, the loan should be classified as non-performing asset 90 days. The loan would be classified as NPA in the month of June 2023. जैसे आपका 90 days complete हो गया, ठीक है. सब स्टैंडर्ड एसेट आपका है एंड प्रोविजनिंग विल बी 15%. डाउटफुल एसेट आपका ये रहेगा, ठीक है. तो 25% और अदर्स जो रहता है, ठीक है. तो बट इसको हमें कंसिडर नहीं करना, आर केस इज दिस, ठीक है. तो हमारे केस में ये रहेगा 15%, तो ये कितना हो जाएगा आपका? 15 लैक्स, ठीक है. सो कितना है? 1.5 करोड़, सॉरी. हाँ 1.5 करोड़, ठीक है. सॉरी, मेरा कैलकुलेशन क्या था? हाँ कुछ तो मैंने गड़बड़ किया था, ठीक है. सो सिंपली लाइक 10 लाख इंटू 0.15 होना चाहिए, तो इट इज लाइक 1.5 करोड़, ठीक है. सो द लोन इज क्लासिफाइड एज एनपीए एंड प्रोविजनिंग विल बी 1.5 करोड़, 15% ऑफ 10 करोड़. 10 करोड़, मैंने 1 करोड़ पे कैलकुलेशन किया इसलिए गड़बड़ हुआ, ठीक है. फॉर द एनपीए ऑफ दिस वन, आई होप यू गॉट दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग. तो ये देखो, ये प्लस माइनस में आप लोग एक्सपर्ट हैं, ठीक है, और मैं वीक हूं, आई एक्सेप्ट दैट वन. बट हाँ, ये आपका जिसको आपको थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखना. अंडरस्टूड? यस और नो? प्लीज डू मेंशन इनटू द कमेंट सेक्शन कि आपको बहुत अच्छे से समझ आया या नहीं आया, ठीक है। 80, जैसे अभी मैंने आपको एक रेफरेंस दिया, अब इसी पे ना हाउ दे विल गिव यू क्वेश्चन कि वो आपको मतलब हो सकता है एक बैंक के 2-3 एसेट्स के बारे में दे दें, ठीक है। वन एसेट विच बिलोंग्स टू सब स्टैंडर्ड एसेट, अनदर वन इज लाइक स्टैंडर्ड एसेट बट सम अदर कैटेगरी जहां पे स्टैंडर्ड एसेट में आपका रिक्वायरमेंट होगा, और आपका अनदर वन इज लाइक लेट्स से दैट बिलोंग्स टू डाउटफुल कैटेगरी 2। तो उस तरीके से जो आपका कैलकुलेशंस, यू जस्ट हैव टू डू द प्लस माइनस थिंग्स, नथिंग एल्स। अंडरस्टूड? यस और नो? अगेन आई एम आस्किंग दिस पर्टिकुलर वन बिकॉज when we'll come to the unit wise MCQs and case studies, we will practice number of question based on this, but the concept और fundamental will remain same, ठीक है। आप मतलब इसके ऊपर आपका कोई भी कॉन्सेप्ट, कोई भी फंडामेंटल लगाओ, वो हमेशा आपका सेम ही आने वाला, उसमें और कोई चेंज आपका नहीं होगा, ठीक है। वन अनदर थिंग गाइस, एज ऑफ अप्रैल 24 2020 दिस इज अबाउट द स्टैंडर्ड एसेट, ठीक है। अब ये भी थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा आपको। The Reserve Bank of India has revised the standard asset provisioning norms tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 आपका टीम। So advance to commercial real estate, residential housing 0.75%, ठीक है। All other advances 0.40%, ठीक है। तो ये इस दो रेंज में आपका रहता है, ठीक है। अब देखो आपकी जो बुक है ना वो थोड़ा सा आपका क्या है, अगर आप BFM का बुक, मैकमिलन का बुक रेफर कर रहे होंगे तो वो थोड़ा सा आपको पुराना दिखाएगा, ठीक है। I'll show you that one also, but this is the new one, ठीक है। तो आपका रेंज क्या कर दिया, 0.40% टू 0.75%। जैसे जो एडवांसेस टू कमर्शियल रियल एस्टेट आपका रेजिडेंशियल हाउसिंग है, वहां पे अगर कोई स्टैंडर्ड एसेट भी है फिर भी 0.75% का प्रोविजनिंग आपको मेंटेन करना है। इन अदर केसेस, अदर एडवांसेस, अदर ऑल एडवांसेस, दे जनरली आपका 0.4% ऑफ द फंडेड आउटस्टैंडिंग ऑन द पोर्टफोलियो बेसिस, ठीक है। तो जैसे किसी कस्टमर को हमने आपका 10 करोड़ रुपए, 1 करोड़ रुपए का आपका लोन दे रखा है, ठीक है, हाउसिंग लोन, तो उसका 0.75%, 0.75%, ठीक है। अगर आपका जैसे कोई सपोज दैट कोई अदर लोन है, ठीक है, जैसे कोई कार लोन है या अदर्स आपका है, तो उसकी जैसे सपोज दैट 50 लाख का कार लोन है, तो उसका 0.40% का प्रोविजनिंग आपको करके चलने पड़ेंगे। दिस इज द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस। इसके अलावा ऑल प्रोविजनिंग नॉर्म फॉर स्टैंडर्ड फॉर NBFC इन द मिडिल लेयर एरियाज, systematically important NBFC 0.40%, similar to this. A loan to a small and micro units or individual housing loans, lower rate due to a lower default rate, ठीक है। so 0.25% और this, that is the one, ठीक है। तो ये जो चार्ट है ना आपका, ये भी आपका जो एरिया है, ठीक है, थोड़ा सा इसको गो थ्रू करें, ठीक है। तो स्टैंडर्ड एसेट के केस में आपका जो क्लॉज दिया गया था जिसमें आपका चेंजेस इज दिस, ये आपका नया इसमें जो लेटेस्ट डेवलपमेंट है दैट इज दिस, ठीक है। तो देखो ये बुक आपका उससे पहले कहीं ना कहीं आ गई थी आपका डेटा में और, तो इसलिए ये जो आपका अपडेट है ना दैट इज मिसिंग फ्रॉम दिस, ठीक है। तो बैंक आर रिक्वायर्ड टू मेक जनरल प्रोविजन फॉर स्टैंडर्ड एसेट एज पर द फॉलोइंग वन, फार्म क्रेडिट फॉर एग्रीकल्चर एंड MSME 0.25%, ठीक है, सो 0.25%, एडवांसेस टू कमर्शियल रियल एस्टेट 1% आपका, ठीक है। सो अगर कमर्शियल रियल एस्टेट आपका प्रॉपर्टी जैसे किसी बिल्डर्स या अदर्स उनको दिया गया तो 1% का स्टेट आपका, ठीक है। एडवांसेस टू कमर्शियल रियल एस्टेट रेजिडेंशियल हाउसिंग 0.75%, ठीक है, जैसे भी हमने देखा, ठीक है। हाउसिंग लोन एक्सटेंडेड एट teaser at 2%, the provisioning on these assets would be 0.40% after 1 year from the date on which the rate are reset at higher rate if the account remains standard, ठीक है। So restructured advances at stipulate in the prudential norms, restructuring of advances, तो वो आपका किस तरीके से उस एसेट का रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग क्या है, दैट इज टोटली डिपेंड ऑन दिस, ठीक है। Advances restructured and classified as standard in term of master direction, Reserve Bank of India by bank in areas affected by natural calamities and all, so that is 5%, and apart from these in all the other situation आपका A से F के अलावा सब में 0.40%, ठीक है। तो इसलिए हम आपको हमेशा सजेस्ट करते हैं कि अगर मतलब या तो ये मतलब हो सकता है वो लेटेस्ट डेवलपमेंट के अराउंड जाए, तो ये दो आपका जिनको अच्छे से ध्यान रखिएगा, ठीक है। सो प्लीज डू टेक केयर अबाउट दिस, अदरवाइज लाइक मोस्ट ऑफ टाइम व्हाट वी सी कि वो आपको एक नॉर्मल आपका अदर उसमें दे देगा, ठीक है, एंड यू जस्ट हैव टू अप्लाई 0.40% ऑफ द अमाउंट सेंक्शन, ठीक है, या जो भी आउटस्टैंडिंग बैलेंस है उसके ऊपर आपका, ठीक है। समझ में आया सबको? क्लियर है ना? तो प्लीज गो थ्रू दिस पर्टिकुलर वन वेरी केयरफुली, ट्राई टू रिमेंबर दीज पर्टिकुलर थिंग्स विद प्रैक्टिस, ठीक है? एंड वंस आई रीच टू दैट मॉड्यूल डी एमसीक्यू वाला एरिया, आई डेफिनेटली कम अप विद नंबर ऑफ केस स्टडीज, तो आने वाले एग्जामिनेशन में आप लोग बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म कर पाएंगे, ठीक है? सो द फ्यू अदर थिंग अबाउट दिस, ठीक है, अकाउंट विद टेम्परेरी डेफिशिएंसीज, ठीक है, इसका सीधा सा मतलब है जैसे किसी को हमने लोन दिया, उसका ईएमआई वाज ड्यू ऑन 5th of August, by any reason they won't be able to make payment on 5th August. Let's say they made payment on 7th September. तो ये जो आपका that account will not consider as non performing asset, ठीक है? उसका clear cut आपका यहाँ पे दिया गया, ठीक है? So it is a temporary deficiency in the account. So the classification of an asset as NPA should be based on record of recovery. A bank should not classify an advance account as NPA merely due to uh, extents of some deficiencies such as temporary in nature, such as non-availability of adequate drawing power. Based on the latest available stock statement, balance outstanding exceed the limit temporarily. So, not submission of stock statement and non renewal of the limits on the due date itself. ठीक है? तो like दो आपका एनपीए आपका क्लासिफाई होने का जो रीजन है, दैट विल बी द ओनली वन जो आपका फाइनल होगा, ठीक है? आफ्टर अगर वो 90 डेज वाला एक्सीड करता है देन ओनली, ठीक है? लोन विद मोरेटोरियम फॉर पेमेंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, तो मोरेटोरियम का आपका जो क्लॉज है, ठीक है? So in the case of bank finance given industrial project for or agriculture plantation etc., where moratorium period is available for payment of interest become due only after the moratorium or gestation period is over. Therefore, such amount is of interest do not become overdue or hence do not become NPA with reference to date of debit of the interest. They become overdue after the due date of the payment of interest if the interest remain uncollectible. ठीक है? इसका सिंपल सा मतलब क्या है कि जैसे आपका देयर इज अ फार्मर और देयर इज अ कंपनी हु टुक द लोन, ठीक है? सो अब उन्होंने लोन लिया एंड देयर इज अ मोरेटोरियम पीरियड ऑफ लेट्स से 6 मंथ, ठीक है? 6 महीने का आपका मोरेटोरियम पीरियड है। तो अब यहाँ पे ड्यू डेट आपका क्या होगा, इसके बाद इस दौरान उसने अगर इंटरेस्ट पे या ईएमआई पे नहीं किया है, इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट नहीं हुआ है, तो हम उसको इस 6 महीने के बेसिस पे विल नॉट कंसीडर दैट एसेट एज एन एनपीए, ठीक है? इसके बाद आपका, ठीक है, अब यहां से उसका मोरेटोरियम खत्म हो चुका है, अगर यहाँ पे वो 3 महीने तक नहीं पे करता देन ओनली दिस विल बी डिक्लेयर एज नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट, अदरवाइज इट विल बी रिमेन स्टैंडर्ड एसेट, ठीक है? रिवर्सल ऑफ इनकम, ठीक है? सो इफ एनी एडवांस इंक्लूडिंग बिल परचेज एंड डिस्काउंटेड बिकम एनपीए एज at the close of any years, interest accrued and credited to income account is in the corresponding previous year should be reversed or provided for if the same is not realized, ठीक है? तो ये जनरली आपका डिस्काउंटेड और उसके केस में होता है ना कि जैसे हमने बिल डिस्काउंट किया एंड हमने बोला कि इतना इनकम होगा बट दैट बेस्ड ऑन दैट एक्रूल बेसिस हमने उसी ईयर में उसको कंसिडर कर दिया। अब बट जब उसका पेमेंट का डेट आया, फाइनेंशियल ईयर खत्म हुआ था और वहां पे उसने पेमेंट नहीं किया, वो एनपीए हो गया, सो यू हैव टू करेक्ट योर बैलेंस शीट इन दैट पर्टिकुलर सिचुएशन। सो दिस विल अप्लाई टू गवर्नमेंट ग्रांटेड अकाउंट्स इन ऑल too, right? So that is done. So this is it, guys. So we will start our today's discussion with very first question on your screen, guys. So quickly go through the question. XYZ Bank has provided cash credit facility to a borrower with a sanctioned limit of 5 crores. The account had an outstanding balance of 4.80 crores as of 31st March 2024. However, there have been no credit, ठीक है? No credit in the account for past 90 days and interest debited has not been serviced. So as per the RBI guidelines, so it is generally classified as out of order and it will be declared as non-performing asset, and in non-performing asset it will be doubtful asset, substandard asset, right? So majorly it will be categorized as out of order, okay? So according to RBI guidelines, an account should be classified out of order if there is no credit continuously for 90 days or if the credit are insufficient to cover the interest debited during that particular period. In our case, borrower has failed to make any payments for 90 days and interest remain unpaid. So therefore, this is generally categorized as out of order. Okay, let's have a quick look around the non-performing guidelines or the terminologies, like what is NPA and the different classes, or out of order. Okay, so due amounts and all. Okay. So what is non-performing asset? An asset including leased asset become non-performing when it cease to generate income for the bank. Bank should classify an account as an NPA only if the interest charged during any quarter is not serviced fully within 90 days from the day of the quarter itself. Okay? So non-performing asset, this is very simple one. Everybody knows about this. So there are some different categories. आपका, okay? So the definition of NPA as per the RBI guidelines. Okay? So interest or installment of principal remain overdue for a period of more than 90 days in respect of term loan. The account remain out of order in respect of overdraft and cash credit. जैसे भी हमने discuss किया था. In that case was cash credit. The bill remain overdue for a period more than 90 days in the case of bill purchase and discounted. Okay. So in case of term loan, this is the definition. In case of overdraft and cash credit, this is the NP definition. And in case of bill purchased or discount, this is the definition for the non-performing asset. The good thing is, for all cases, we have 90 days time framework, right? So apart from this, agriculture, so the installment of principal or interest thereon remain overdue for 2 crop season in case of short-term, short duration crop, and for long duration crop, it is 1 crop season. The installment of principal or interest thereon remain overdue for 1 crop season for a long-term duration crop. In respect of derivative transaction, if the overdue receivables are representing positive M2M, mark to market value of a derivative contract that remain unpaid for a period of 90 days from the specified due date for the payment itself, right? So these are some major classification, or simply saying the definitions which are generally provided by RBI toward the non-performing asset. If we talk about the overdue and out of order status, so out of order is defined as an account be treated as out of order if outstanding balance remain continuously in excess of sanction limit or drawing power in case of CC and overdraft. In case where the outstanding balance in principal operating account is less than the sanction limit drawing power, but there are no credit continuously for 90 days as on the date of balance sheet, or credit are not enough to cover the interest debited during the same period. So these accounts should be treated as out of order. Especially we see these kind of situation or cases in case of your cash credit and overdraft. Overdue is any amount due to a bank under any credit facility is overdue if not paid on the due date fixed by the bank itself. Let's say the EMI is scheduled for 5th of every month. So let's say the amount of EMI was 1 lakh rupees. So if that borrower is not paying that particular EMI on 5th, so on 6th it will be counted as overdue amount. And for 90 days we will be keeping this particular one under special mention account. And after 90 days we will be declaring that particular asset as non-performing asset, and where we have further categories like substandard asset, then we have doubtful asset. So doubtful asset, where we have 3 categories for provisioning: doubtful 1, doubtful 2 and doubtful 3, and then we have finally loss asset. In case of substandard asset, normal provisioning is 15%, but in case of unsecured it is 25%. In case of doubtful asset category 1, your provisioning for like if it is unsecured asset, it is 100%, but in case of The other one, it is 25%, 40% and 100%. ठीक है? So these are the provisioning guidelines. And in case of loss asset, provisioning should be at 100%. First, loss asset, they generally get written off from the balance sheet. For any reason, if we are keeping those particular asset in our balance sheet, so that is like you have to make a provision of 100%. ठीक है? तो बेसिक आपका कैटेगरी आपका जो कुछ इस तरीके से, ठीक है, एनपीए, फर्स्ट एसएमए, एसएमए अगेन वी हैव थ्री कैटेगरीज, ठीक है, एसएमए जीरो, ठीक है, एसएमए जीरो, एसएमए वन एंड एसएमए टू, ठीक है। एसएमए जीरो इज आपका 1 to 30 डे, ठीक है, 31 to 60 डे वी हैव एसएमए टू, SMA 1, SMA 2 is 61 to 98 days, ठीक है। After that we generally declare that particular asset as non-performing asset। तो यहाँ पे आपका non-performing asset के तीन कैटेगरीज, सब स्टैंडर्ड एसेट अप टू 1 year, ठीक है, देन आपका नेक्स्ट 2 years इट विल बी इन डाउटफुल एसेट, देन आफ्टर 48 months, ठीक है, सो एनपीए हुए 48 महीने से ज्यादा होंगे, इट विल बी कैटेगराइज अंडर लॉस एसेट, ठीक है। प्रोविजनिंग इज आपका उन एसेट्स के अगेंस्ट में जो प्रोविजन इन केस ऑफ सबस्टैंडर्ड assets, in case of your secure asset 15%, unsecured they generally attract 10% additional your provisioning for that particular, overall 25%. In case of doubtful asset, unsecured it is 100%, but in case of secured asset, these all are generally for secured, unsecured it is 100%, ठीक है, सबके लिए आपका 100% होगा। Secured asset doubtful category 1 25%, 2 40% and 3 आपका 100%। And loss asset it should be written off from your balance sheet for any reason। अगर हम उसको जैसे कोई कोर्ट केसेस या कुछ और रीजन की वजह से अगर हम उसको रख रहे होते हैं, so in that case your provisioning will be 100%, ठीक है। ABC Bank restructured a corporate loan of 50 crores due to borrowers' temporary financial difficulties. As per the RBI guidelines, the account was a standard asset before the restructuring. What will be the classification of the asset immediately after restructuring? It will be categorized under सब स्टैंडर्ड एसेट, ठीक है। तो सब स्टैंडर्ड एसेट आपका यहाँ पे स्पेशल मेंशन नहीं चलेगा, इट विल बी एज पर द आरबीआई नॉर्म्स, इट विल बी कैटेगराइज एज सब स्टैंडर्ड एसेट फॉर नेक्स्ट 12 months, इट विल बी रिमेन सब स्टैंडर्ड अगर आपका पेमेंट नहीं होता है, ठीक है। सो एज पर आरबीआई गाइडलाइंस, व्हेन लोन इज रीस्ट्रक्चर्ड, it is downgraded to substandard asset immediately, even if it was previously standard asset. The loan remains substandard category for 12 months before it can be considered for an upgrade, subject to satisfactory performance of that particular borrower. Simple, ठीक है। तो ये सारे areas आपका, so this is the kind of summary, ठीक है। So standard asset where basically we are getting interest on timely basis, ठीक है, और EMIs on timely basis, they are generally categorized as standard asset, ठीक है। जैसे हमने कोई लोन दिया किसी कस्टमर को and they are paying EMI on due date, so that is standard asset, ठीक है। So loan are performing well, not overdue, require a small percentage, that is mostly 0.540% to be set aside as provision, ठीक है। Standard assets के against में भी we have to do the provisioning, ठीक है। It is 0.40%, but it range like sometime like for agriculture it is 0.25, for आपका for the mortgages, residential mortgages it is 0.75%, but in case of other categories apart from some specific areas it is a 0.40% only, ठीक है। We will be discussing that particular one provisioning in detail just after this slide here। Substandard asset, loan overdue for more than 90 days. That means it is categorized as a non-performing asset and it remain non-performing asset for 12 months. So that will be in substandard asset, and provisioning is 15% for secured exposure and 25% for unsecured exposures. Doubtful asset, so loan overdue more 12 months, more than 12 months and less than 24 months, require a provisioning rate of 25% for आपका recoverable means secured asset, and unsecured it is 100%, ठीक है। And for unsecured it is 100% for unsecured exposures. Loss asset will little or no more recovery prospect and classified as loss, and we have to write off these, but we usually write off But if we are keeping those particular asset in our book, so we have to make a provisioning of 100%. So this is a basic kind of the asset classification. Okay, now this chart will help you out. So provisioning category, आपका first thing. So in case of standard asset, in case of standard asset, performing asset with normal risk, 0.25% to 1%, will come to this the further bifurcation of this, just after the slide or after some questions. Substandard asset NPA for less than 12 months. More SMA is over. Now it remain NPA for next 12 months in this category. Secured 15%, unsecured 25%. Doubtful asset NPA for more than 12 months. Unsecured 100%. आपका up to 1 year. See, please do remember this one. These are the three categories of doubtful asset, and accordingly you have to make the provision also. So आपका SMA 1, this is known as doubtful 1, 25%. In case of secured, unsecured it is 100%. Doubtful 2, आपका 1 to 3 years, 40%, and more than 48 months, including this, including your substandard timings, it is 100%. So loss asset uncollectible, they are declared as uncollectible. If you are keeping those particular one, you have to make a provisioning of 100%. Okay, now with this particular data, we'll be solving some this kind of case studies I have seen in the past also. Sometime like अगर वो आपको एनपीए क्लासिफिकेशन के ऊपर प्रोविजनिंग देता है, इट बिकम वेरी इजी. बट इफ दे आस्क यू क्वेश्चन बेस्ड ऑन दैट द अनदर पार्ट, दैट इज आपका स्टैंडर्ड एसेट के केस में, सो इन दैट केस यू हैव टू रिमेंबर फ्यू एरियाज. विल टॉक अबाउट दोस वन आल्सो. A bank has total NPA of 100 crore rupees consisting of substandard asset, doubtful asset and loss asset. The breakdown is this. So this is very simple question. Substandard asset, doubtful and loss. So अब अगर उन्होंने आपको secured unsecured नहीं mention किया, you just have to go with the normal numbers. That means substandard, it is, we will be assuming this is the secured asset, so it is at the rate of 15%. In case of doubtful asset, it is at the rate of 25%. And in case of loss asset, it is आपका 100%. So this is the one. If you'll calculate this particular one, you'll get to know. Like in this case, it is first two I need to calculate. Where is my calculator? Okay. So so it is 7.5. It is 7.5 crores. 7.5 crores. And it is 30 into 0.25. It is 7.5 crores. 7.50 crores. That means 15 crores. And it is 100 crores. 15 plus 100 is how much? No, sorry. It is 20 crores because it is 100%. So 15 and 20 आपका 35 crores. So the provisioning required for these particular loan will be 35 crores. तो इस तरीके से they can ask you the questions also. So 35 crores आपका, 7.5, 7.5 and 20. This is the one. But what I have experienced in the past, they'll specifically mention the asset, like let's say substandard with collateral or without collateral, or secured or unsecured exposure, doubtful under category 1 or 2 or 3, और लॉस एसेट आपका. ठीक है. सो यू हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल अराउंड दैट पर्टिकुलर. इट इज इजी टू आंसर एंड स्कोर वेल. ठीक है. सो प्लीज ध्यान रखिएगा. ABC Bank loan portfolio consists 500 crores with a worth of loan. The bank estimate of 5% of the loan may turn into non-performing asset and require a provisioning of 30%. तो ये बहुत आसान है. ठीक है. So 5% of 500 crore is आपका कितना होता है? ठीक है. 25 करोड़. सो 25 करोड़ का 30%. ठीक है. सो व्हाट विल बी योर राइट आंसर? ये निकल जाएगा ना, आगे देख लेते हैं, आंसर देख लेते हैं. ठीक है. सो 25 करोड़, 5% ऑफ आपका 500 करोड़ इज 25. 25 का 30% इज आपका 7.5 करोड़. ठीक है. दिस इज द प्रोविजनिंग रिक्वायर्ड इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस आपका. ठीक है. You'll get in the form of question without options. We'll be practicing more question, and once I'll start with the case studies things and all, I'll come up with the previous year questions also, so that will also help you out, right? Which of the following standard asset require the highest provisioning rate as per the RBI norms? So basically these are restructured asset. Okay? So advances to commercial state, restructure advances under the master direction of natural calamities, ठीक है, so they'll be requiring the highest provision in this particular case, ठीक है. See, CRE loans आपका 1%, ठीक है, SME loans आपका 0.25%, टीजर हाउसिंग लोन आपका इनिशियली 2%, लेटर 0.40%, रीस्ट्रक्चर एडवांसेस अंडर नेचुरल कैलेमिटीज रिसोर्सेज और दे रिक्वायर्ड 5% of provisioning, ठीक है. So these all are basically your, like if you talk about the standard asset, ठीक है, so in case of standard asset also we have to create the provisioning, and the provisioning for CRE loan it is 1%, SME it is 0.25%, teaser rate housing loans आपका initially it is 2%, later on it get reduced up to 0.40%, but in case of restructured advances under natural calamities they attract 5% of provisioning, ठीक है. तो यहाँ पे आपका, हाँ, this is the chart I was talking around, ठीक है. So this is very very important one guys for standard asset your provisioning, ठीक है. देखो NPA के अंदर और under that NPA classification I have never seen any issues with candidate, ठीक है, आप उनको याद कर लेते हैं आसानी से. बट स्टैंडर्ड एसेट के अंदर देयर इज अ लिस्ट विच यू हैव टू रिमेंबर, ठीक है. ये लिस्ट के ऊपर आपका, बिकॉज लेट्स से दे हैव गिवन 5 पॉइंटर्स जिनके बेसिस पर आपको you have to calculate that provisioning, total provisioning required from the bank. 1 or 2 entries will be based on standard asset, ठीक है. तो वो आपको केस दे देंगे कि we have given loan to आपका कंपनी X which is a standard asset, ठीक है, या we have given loan to farmers which is a standard asset. इस तरीके से एक दो पॉइंटर्स रहेंगे. सो और या क्या ऐसा भी हो सकता है your entire case study is driven by these particular pointers, ठीक है. So if you come about this, talk about this, ठीक है. Bank are required to make general provision for standard asset at following rates. First आपका farm credit 0.75%, 0.25%, ठीक है. Farm credit to agriculture activities and SMEs, ठीक है, it is 0.25%, the minimum, the least one, ठीक है. Advances to a commercial real estate sector 1%, commercial real estate, ठीक है. So it is like real estate which is for shopping malls and all, that is the one, ठीक है. C आपका commercial real estate residential housing sector आपका it is 0.75%, ठीक है. So it is 0.75%. Housing loan आपका, ठीक है, housing loan extended at teaser initially it start with 2%, ठीक है. These asset would be revert to 0.40% after 1 year, ठीक है. So after 1 year they decline to 1 आपका 10, ठीक है. If you are getting the regular amounts from the customer and that asset is standard asset, ठीक है. Restructuring advances as stipulated in the prudential norms of restructuring of advances, ठीक है. Advances restructured and classified standard asset in remain master direction. RBI आपका measure bank in area affected by natural calamities and all, ठीक है. So it is 5%, ठीक है, maximum 1, ठीक है. Apart from these others आपका there is a category called others, it is 0.40%. All other loans and advances not included A to F they attract 0.40%, ठीक है. So please do remember this one. This is very very important for your upcoming examination, ठीक है. चलो next question guys. A bank granted housing loan at teaser rate. How will be the provisioning requirement changes after 1 year if the loan continue to remain substandard asset? So it will come down to 0.40%. It will remain 2%. No, it will reduce to आपका 0.40% after 1 year if the rate are reset at higher rates and the account remain standard asset. So option C will be right answer for this particular one, ठीक है. So according to RBI provision norms, housing loan extended at teaser rate require 2% provisioning for initial first year. However, if the loan rate reset at higher level after 1 year and the account remains standard, so the provisioning requirement for that particular one will be 0.40%, ठीक है. आगे बढ़ते हैं. A loan of 20 crores was classified as non-performing asset in January 2024. Okay? So this asset become NPA in January 2024. As of the January 2025, that means 1 year, the asset has remained in substandard category for a period of 12 months. As per the provisioning norms, what percentage of provisioning should the bank make for the loan if it is reclassified as आपका doubtful asset. ठीक है. So 25 crores as January this, the asset has remained this. What percentage of provisioning should the bank make for the loan if reclassified? So if it will come to the doubtful asset, it will be now, it will classified under आपका 25%. ठीक है. सो अर्लियर इट वॉज अट्रैक्टिंग अज्यूम. देखो यहाँ पे उसने दे डू नॉट हैव मेंशन अबाउट द सिक्योर्ड इन अनसिक्योर्ड एक्सपोजर्स, so we'll be taking it as a secured asset. So it will attract 25%. So for first year, like in case of doubtful asset, it was 15%. Now the 1 year is over, so now it will be reclassified as your doubtful asset, and in case of doubtful asset it is 25% for secured portion. For unsecured portion it is 100%, right? So that is the one. Okay? So 12 months, if they remain substandard category for more than 12 months, it is classified as doubtful asset. And the provision required for doubtful asset less than 3 years is 25%. Again, since then loan is exactly 12 months, so it will attract the आपका, if you talk about the amount also, they have to make a provision of 5 crore rupees. Okay? A farmer avail a short-term crop loan for from DEF Bank as per the payment schedule. The principal and interest were due after the harvest season. Okay? If the farmer failed to repay the due for 2 crop season, how bank will classify? So they'll classify this particular loan under the substandard category. Okay? So, like for agriculture, it is 2 crop season. In case of small crops, it is a short-term crop. Okay? So we have spent all the 2 crop seasons. So now it will be categorized as it will be categorized as substandard asset. Okay? Because it will enter into NPA, and it will be short-term crop day as per the repayment schedule, principal and interest due to after harvest seasons. The farmer, it will be classified as substandard asset. Okay? Classify agriculture advances, short-term crop has NPA requirement unpaid for 2 crops. If the NPA start continuing for 12 months, see 12 months guidelines are not here, na? As per the repayment schedule. See, it is आपका, it is actually there is no clause of 12 months. ठीक है. So it will be considered as आपका substandard asset. ठीक है. It will be considered as substandard. अगर उन्होंने specifically mention किया होता कि it has increased the 12 months time duration also, then we will categorize under the doubtful asset. All right. Next one. A bank has an unsecured loan classified as doubtful asset. Unsecured and doubtful asset. Okay? So that means 100% provisioning will be there. More than 3 years. As per the provisioning norm, so it is 100%. Okay? So option D will be right answer for this particular one. Okay? Next one. A corporate borrower has failed to make its interest payment due on March 1st, 2024. The delay continues beyond 30 days but is still up under the 60 days. So under RBI SMA classification, so in which category it will fall? तो किस कैटेगरी में आएगा ये आपका? 30 days and within 60 days. तो 0 to आपका 1 to 30 days SMA 0 and आपका 30 to 60 आपका SMA 1. So it will come under the SMA 1 category. ठीक है. 60 to 90 it will come under SMA 3 category. ठीक है. तो SMA 1 will be right answer for this particular one. ठीक है. So payment overdue आपका this payment 31 to 60 and 61st to 90th day. So it is generally categorized under SMA 1. All right. So we have this particular chart. So standard asset, regular means no delays. Stress means SMA. We have SMA 0, SMA 1 and SMA 2. In case of non-performing, we have substandard asset 12 months. Doubtful asset more than 12 months and loss asset आपका non-recoverable. They are categorized as non-recoverable. For standard asset, we have different provisioning guidelines, which is usually we have different categories, but for major category, other category, it is 0.40%. Okay? But in case of substandard, secured portion, it is 15%, unsecured it is 25%, doubtful it is unsecured 100%, but we have 3 categories for doubtful, 1, 2, 3, आपका 25, 40 and 100%, and here that is 100%. ठीक है. चलो तो कुछ क्वेश्चन और देख लेते हैं आपका. ठीक है. NPA classification and provisioning. XYZ Bank has a loan of 10 crores. disbursed to a borrowers in the manufacturing sector. The loan was classified as standard until March 23, but July 23, the borrower has missed payment for 90 days. That means it is categorized NPA. As per the bank record, the last payment was made in March. ठीक है? तो April, May, June. ठीक है? 90 days crossed, even July. So this asset is classified as non-performing asset. So non-performing asset, the question is what classification of loan and provisioning required. So it is आपका substandard asset. It will be categorized under substandard asset. If the loan classified as NPA, what provisioning should be required for this one? In case of substandard asset, it is a secured loan. This were a borrower's manufacturing sector, so it will be आपका 15%. And 15% of 10 crore will be the provisioning amount for this particular one. So 90 days, it is classified as non-performing asset, and then the substandard asset आपका 15% basically, and doubtful, this is the provisioning things which we have discussed here. So कितना था 10 crore का 15% is आपका 1 crore 50 lakhs. So that is the one. That is the right answer for this one, the provisioning amount also. All right, next one. Provisioning norms for standard asset. Okay, this we have discussed, but please do revise this particular one because this is very important. So if you talk about this things, advances to commercial real estate, residential housing, 0.75%. All other advances 0.40%. Provisioning norms for standard asset NBFCs आपका systematically important NBFCs 0.40% for static. Loan to MSMEs and others आपका so that generally range around 0.25%. Agriculture and MSME it is how much 0.25%. ठीक है, तो ये इस तरीके से आपका था. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट वन, प्रिफर दैट प्रीवियस स्लाइड. हाँ, तो यहाँ पे थोड़ा डेटा इनकम्प्लीट है. नहीं, under which of the following condition should a bank not classify an asset under the non-performing asset when there is a temporary deficiency such as non-renewal of limit on due date? In this category, you cannot categorize that particular one in as an NPA. Temporary deficiencies cannot be categorized as NPA. आपका, when the recovery record indicate continuous 90 days, so this will be NPA. Yeah, आपका, this is the case of NPA. When the balance outstanding exceeding the sanction limit temporarily, so it is not considered as NPA. Okay? So this is the case where we will be considering that particular one as NPA. So A will be right. So D. Which of the following should not continue? आपका, it is in this case also it is a temporary. Sorry, my bad. So it is a temporary deficiency. It will not covered under this one. So A and C will be right answer for this. Easy question again. So non-availability of adequate drawing power, balances outstanding exceeding the limit temporarily, and non-renewal of limit on due days. So these are the categories as per the RBI guidelines. So the definition, if your asset is not meeting with those particular definition, that only we will categorize that particular asset into non-performing. Otherwise, like temporary deficiencies, we cannot categorize that asset as a non-performing asset. Okay? So the classification of an asset NPA should be based on a record of recovery. A bank should not classify an advance account as NPA merely due to existence of some deficiencies which are temporary in nature, such as non-availability of adequate drawing power based on the latest available stock statement, balance outstanding exceeding the limit temporarily, non-submission of stock statements, and non-renewal of limit on the due date. Okay, so these are the conditions in which, like, if a person or an account is following these particular conditions, you cannot categorize that particular one for a as a non-performing asset. These are generally categorized as temporary deficiencies. Okay? Next one, guys. Which of the following statement is correct regarding the classification of NPA for industrial project in agriculture plantations, which where a moratorium is provided for interest payment? So interest become overdue as soon as it debited. Even within the moratorium period, interest does not become overdue during the moratorium period, but only after due date of the repayment of आपका moratorium 100% छूट. let's say the moratorium period is for 6 months, तो 6 month तक आपका it will not categorize as overdue. हाँ, after 6 month, that 7 month, next month's fifth is supposed at the schedule date. If borrower is not paying on that date, due date, then only it will be categorized as overdue. So option B will be right answer for this particular one. Okay? So when a moratorium or gestation period is granted, interest is not considered overdue during that moratorium period. Okay? Interest become due only after this particular period, okay? And if the borrower failed to pay after the due date, only then it will be categorized as NPA आपका जो time duration होगा, ठीक है? So which of the following statement is correct regarding the classification of NPA for industrial project and agriculture plantation where a moratorium is provided for interest payment, ठीक है? And the right answer was interest does not become overdue during that moratorium period, ठीक है? So but only after due date for the payments post moratorium. Let's say the moratorium period is for 90 days. So during that 90 days, we will not classify that particular asset as non-performing asset again. So if it remain overdue after that particular one, then only it will be categorized as non-performing asset, right? So in the case of bank finance given for industrial project and agriculture plantations, where moratorium period is available for a payment of interest become due only after the moratorium or gestation period is over. So such amount of interest do not become overdue and hence do not become NPA. With reference to the date of debt of interest, okay, they become overdue after the due date for payment of interest if the interest remain uncollected, right? So this was our last discussion in our part 1. So now the other part or the other important subtopic of this particular unit that we are going to discuss again with the help of MCQs and application based questions. So which of the following correctly describe the shift in the Indian insolvency regime introduced by Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016 IBC, okay? So IBC which generally introduced so earlier there was debtor in position and we generally shift this particular one to creditor in control, right? So debtor in position means after becoming default itself, जैसे कोई कंपनी आपका डिफॉल्ट करती है, so the management आपका we are generally running that particular company with the old management itself, ठीक है? जैसे we have a case of Kingfisher Airlines, ठीक है? तो जैसे आपका किंगफिशर एयरलाइंस के द्वारा डिफॉल्ट किया गया, तो सेम मैनेजमेंट आफ्टर इवन पोस्ट डिफॉल्ट ऑल्सो, ठीक है, और इवन द ड्यूरिंग द इंसॉल्वेंसी डील्स एंड ऑल, ठीक है. So the old management was handling all the cases and all, ठीक है. But we with the IBC 2016 we changed this particular one to आपका creditor in control, ठीक है. If a company become insolvent, ठीक है, so now the creditor will appoint the management to run that particular company as we experience in Jet Airways and others, ठीक है. तो ये जो आपका change था, this was a very big change during that particular period. And even if a director of a company let's say there is a person A who is director of a company or who is a director of 2-3 companies, ठीक है. So if any company make any default, so he will not be liable to raise funds for the another company and all. So there are some certain guidelines around that particular one, ठीक है. So it shift creditor in control model to no, it should be reverse, debtor in position to creditor in control. So let's make this wrong, ठीक है. It maintained in the traditional debtor in position model, but introduced a faster resolution timeline. No, it shifted from debtor in position model to creditor in control model, allowing creditor to appoint a new management. 100% true. So option C will be right answer for this one. Okay. So before IBC, distressed companies retain control over their management. Even after insolvency proceedings begin, so it was debtor in position model. IBC introduced a creditor in model, allowing creditors to take charge and appoint new management to revive the company. This shift made aimed to prevent misuse of insolvency proceedings by defaulting promoters and ensure quick resolutions. Okay, so this was one of the biggest changes during those particular one. Okay, let's have a quick look around the summary also. So Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. So IBC 2016 enacted on May 28, 2016 against the backdrop of mounting non-performing loans with a view to establishing a consolidated framework for insolvency resolution of corporations, partnership firm and individuals in a time-bound manner seek to tackle the non-performing assets (NPAs). As cited above, Government of India has enacted IBC, which is the most comprehensive law, and in the process has consolidated the existing laws and rule through a single legislature to help bank to enforce insolvency and bankruptcy proceedings. Under IBC, Indian insolvency regime shifted from debtor in position to creditor in position. So this was the bigger change. The creditor in control model hand control of debtors to its creditors and relies upon the managerial skill of newly appointed management to take over an aligning company and ensuring business continuation. The Supreme Court in Swiss Ribbon and Union of India has held that the core objective of IBC is to ensure revival and continuation of the corporate debtors. Thus, the IBC has a larger public welfare consideration in play. Okay? So, this was a kind of core things of this change or the very important part from this particular one. Okay? So, now next question, guys. So, the Supreme Court in the case of Swiss Ribbon and Union of India emphasizes which of the following as a core objective of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. Okay? So what was this? Revival and continuation of corporate debtors. Okay? So liquidation defaulting companies, no. Option B, revival and continuation of corporate debtors while ensuring public welfare consideration. 100% true. Okay? So option B only will be right answer for this particular one. So that we discussed in our previous slide also. Okay? So Supreme Court in Swiss Ribbon and Union of India held that revival rather than liquidation in the primary objective of IBC. The code was designated to help distressed companies recover, ensuring business continuity and minimizing job losses. This enforced the public welfare approach of IBC rather than treating it solely as a debt recovery mechanism, right? So this is very important one again. Please do remember these things. Next one. According to IBC 2016, which of the following entities can trigger corporate insolvency resolution process? Okay, so which entity they can trigger or they can file cases under IBC? Because so it can be IBC, sorry, it can be financial creditors, yes, like bank and other institutions. Operational creditors, those who have like these are the vendors and all and employees even. And corporate debtors. So corporate debtor itself, they can also file the आपका IBC. So option D will be right answer for this one. So IBC provide that CIRP can be initiated by three categories of the person: financial creditors, bank and bondholders; operational creditors, suppliers, vendors; corporate debtors, the company itself. Okay? So this ensures that multiple stakeholders can initiate insolvency proceedings, making the resolution process more inclusive. Next one, guys. What is the primary purpose of moratorium imposed once an insolvency petition is admitted under the IBC? The primary purpose of moratorium imposed once an insolvency petition is admitted under the IBC, to provide complete immunity to a key managerial person of corporate debtors, no. To prohibit all proceedings against corporate debtors, including those against the guarantors, yes, it can be. To prevent further depreciation of the corporate debtors asset while allowing proceedings against to prohibit all proceedings against, to prevent further depletion. So option C should be right answer for this one. Okay. To prevent further depletion of corporate debtors assets while allowing proceedings against key managerial persons like directors and all, to protect the interest of Option C, yes, हाँ ठीक है. So as held in P. Mohan Raj versus Saha brother Ispat, moratorium prohibit legal action against the corporate debtors during CIRP. ठीक है. Then uh, the purpose of the purpose is to act as a shield to prevent further depletion of assets. However, it does not protect key managerial persons responsible for the insolvency from legal proceedings. So guarantors and responsible individual can still face legal action despite the moratorium also. So this is the one. Next one. Under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, which of the following received the highest priority in the liquidation process? Okay, so highest. If a company is going through the insolvency process and if we are going for some sort of liquidation, so which of the, like out of these four, which will get repaid very first? तो क्या होगा आपका सबसे इसमें? Employees salary, right? So workers salary for up to 24 months. ठीक है, first. Then second will be आपका shareholders. ठीक है. Third will be आपका unsecured creditors like आपका perpetual bonds or we can say subordinated bonds and all. ठीक है. Then last आपका shareholders of that company. Even in shareholders also we have preference and equity. Preference shareholders get preference over the equity. Okay? So this is the sequence. So as per these four options, workers salary for up to 24 months, they'll get utmost priority, right? So as per IBC, workers due for 24 months are given priority over secured creditors in case of liquidation. This provide ensure that employee receive their wages before claimants providing financial security for workers affected by the company insolvencies. Understood? Very important one. Please do remember this one also. Okay, let's have a look. So it will strengthen hand of lead lenders to recover outstanding debt by setting out deadlines of 180 days. Please do remember this. 180 days plus 90 days आपका moratorium period. Overall it is 330 days. After that one also 180 days plus 90 days plus some documentation and all, that is आपका in total it max to max it can be 330 days, right? So the benefits of IBC basically, so it will strengthen hand up of lenders to recover outstanding debt by setting a deadline of 180 days for companies to pay or face liquidation. To create insolvency professionals who will specialize in such cases, assist creditors, manage the liquidation process. These professionals will in turn be certified by the newly created insolvency professional agency. It will also create a good database and form this disseminations of information is possible related to the debtors. The entire operation of insolvency and bankruptcy through these various newly created agencies will be overseen by the regulators, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. Workers' salary for up to 24 months will be get first priority in case of liquidation of assets of a company ahead of secured creditors. Money due to employee from PPE, PPF, Public Provident Funds, gratuity funds will not be included in the estate of a bankrupt company or individual. As per the World Bank report, India rank in resolving insolvency went from 136 in 2017 to आपका 52 in 2020. So you can see a huge transition between within these 3 years आपका. ठीक है, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं guys. Next one. Which of the following regulatory mechanism ensure fair competition in India in India's banking and financial services? So it is CCI, not only in banking, everywhere. Okay. So CCI आपका financial benchmark priority no. So Competition Commission of India oversight on mergers and acquisition in financial sector. So option C without any doubt. Okay. CCI, Competition Commission of India, ensure that financial sector mergers do not create monopolies or anti-competitive practices, maintaining a fair competition. Next one, what role does IBBI team, so Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, play in India's financial regulatory framework to oversee the restructuring and resolution of distressed companies under the IBC? Yes, to regulate merger and acquisition, to set monetary policy, to no. Option A only will be right answer for this particular one. Okay. So IBBI is responsible for implementing IBC, which provide a structured mechanism for resolving stress companies and financial institutions. Okay. Next one. So next question is about NARCL. It is of bed banks. So which of the following statement correctly describe the purpose and function of National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited? ठीक है? So it work as a bed bank. जैसे ARCs आपके काम करते हैं, Asset Reconstruction Companies. ठीक है? So basically the primary objective of this particular institution was to help public sector banks. Basically what we generally do, public sector banks, they generally transfer their NPAs to NARCL, and NARCL pay upfront 15% of the outstanding balance. Remaining 85 they generally kept as a security. If it is got recovered, then they'll pay it. Otherwise, आपका right written off में जाएगा. Nowadays, private bank are also eligible, or they are also taking advantages of this particular. But primary जो objective था, that was for public sector bank. ठीक है? NARCL was created to replace existing. No, we did not replace. It did not replace the ARCs. NARCL acquire bad loans from bank at market value and sell them to private investors. No, they this is also wrong. NARCL will establish to purchase stress asset from bank at a net book value, paying 15% upfront in cash, issuing security receipt for the remaining 85%. 100% true. So NARCL was set up as a bed bank to acquire stress asset of public sector banks. It purchased bad loan at net book value, paying upfront 15% in cash and issuing security receipt for the remaining 85%. This structure helped clean up public sector balance sheet, public sector banks balance sheet, allowing them to focus on core banking activities. The idea of NARCL will acquire to stress asset in this. So bank will transfer identified bad loans to NARCL at a net book value less provisions. NARCL will pay how we calculate this net book value. It is book value minus provisions. NARCL will pay 15% upfront and remaining they'll issue this. NARCL has been set up as a bed bank around 2 lakh crore rupees of stress asset of public sector bank. Private sector bank can also transfer their NPAs to NARCL. NARCL will then focus on resolving these bad loans or bad asset through various means, restructuring, selling to ARCs, invoking a change in ownership under the IBC, etc. Right. Next one. Which of the following correctly describe the impact of PCA, prompt corrective action framework, imposed by RBI on weak bank? Okay, so there are three major consideration under PCA. One is profitability, another one is आपका net non-performing asset, and the third one is CR. ठीक है, CRAR. ठीक है. So if and like we have minimum standard for these one. If any bank they won't be able to maintain these particular things. ठीक है, अगर वो उस लेवल से नीचे आते हैं, so RBI impose PCA on those particular banks. Right now we do not have any bank in this particular category, but it was also helpful कि हाँ, we can identify that these are the banks who are kind of poor performer in the market. So RBI can have some sort of focus by imposing some sort of restrictions on those particular banks. जैसे cost cutting आपका, they cannot open new branches, or like we have three different categories under the PCA itself. Okay? So PCA allow RBI to merge weak bank. No. PCA restrict lending, dividend distribution and branch expansion for bank with weak financial health. 100% true. Option B. Under PCA, bank that breach regulatory threshold of capital adequacy, that is CRAR of 9%, asset quality, your net non-performing asset is the more than 2.5% or somewhere this, ठीक है, and profitability, ठीक है. So face restrictions on landings or branch expansion or issuance of dividends, ठीक है. The objective to prevent further deterioration and restore financial stability without resorting to immediate nationalization or halting operation entirely, ठीक है. So this is the one. IBC 16, which of the following is the maximum time limit allowed for the resolution of a corporate insolvency case? Maximum 330 days, ठीक है. Yes, हाँ. So 330 days including extension and legal procedures, ठीक है. So usually it is 180 days, extension is आपका 90 days and आपका remaining that is legal proceedings, ठीक है. So आपका 180 प्लस आपका 90, दिस इज द वन, ठीक है. तो कितना हो गया आपका आपका 180 प्लस 90 इज आपका 270. 270 के बाद वी कैन हैव अनदर 90 डेज फॉर द अनदर 60 डेज फॉर द आपका लीगल प्रोसीडिंग्स इन ऑल, बट इट कैन नॉट गो बियॉन्ड दैट पर्टिकुलर वन, ठीक है. सो प्लस 60 फॉर आपका लीगल प्रोसीडिंग्स, ठीक है. सो टोटल आपका 180 आपका 170 and आपका 60 330, ठीक है. So that's why option D will be right answer for this one, right? So as per IBC 16, maximum time limit for resolution of corporate insolvency is 330 days, including initial 180 days plus 90 days extension and legal proceeding maximum 60 days, ठीक है. This ensure a time bound resolution of bad loans and prevent indefinite delays in debt recovery also, ठीक है, जो इसका प्राइम ऑब्जेक्टिव था, ठीक है. Which of the following best describe the PCA framework imposed by RBI, ठीक है. A legal process to shut down NPA, no. A regulatory mechanism that impose restrictions on bank based on financial health indicators, 100% true, ठीक है. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Okay, this is it. So this is all about your NPA and provisioning, or the updates or the RBI initiatives or the government initiatives toward this particular one. I hope you enjoy the session. So now only 3 units are remaining, and I'll try to deliver those 3 units as soon as possible. Actually, nowadays like JIB exams, I have more focus toward the JIB examination, and I have provided enough content. I hope you guys are watching these particular one on regular basis. तो एक बार थोड़ा सा आप लोग वहां तक पहुंचेंगे फॉर श्योर. आई विल बी like within this week itself I'll be delivering all the subject, then I'll be starting with the ABM things, ठीक है. तो ABM के लिए भी बहुत solid content आपका prepare हो रहा है, and I can make sure कि you will enjoy that particular content, ठीक है, and that is definitely going to help you in your upcoming examination also. ABFM and BRBL is already done by Disa ma'am, ठीक है. So there are some playlists, please do watch those particular one, and if you need any other help, so just feel free to ask, right? So this is my Telegram group. You can connect me over there. All right. So this is it from my side, guys. Thank you for joining the session. Thank you for watching the session. Bye. Take care all, and all the very best for your preparation. Thank you.